Uh, all right, what's going on? You listen to King Ujumbe podcast and Ujumbe meets message. We're about to get started. We're about to kick off. This is Friday. I am very excited for multiple reasons. I'm very excited, mainly because school is over. So school is over. We are done. We're done. We packed up. We're done for the year. We're done for the semester. Shout out to the fam that's been teachers, that's been in the trenches doing the thing. I'm just really excited. It's summertime. It's time to do nothing, like play video games, like read a few books, eat some popcorn, chill out. I'm very excited about that. It is the summertime, but here's the thing: I'm about to do summer school, so out of the frying pan into the fire. But welcome. I'd like to welcome you all once again to King Cam and Jumbe podcast. When Jumbe meets message, and somebody asked me a question. Somebody put a question last week about NyKang. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Since they pitch it, I'm going to hit it, right? Um, the question was concerning NyKang. Is he um, the biblical Cain of the Bible? All right. But we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Since, this summer we are going to get into Kush. We're going to get into ancient Nubia and Sudan because we hyper focus on Kemet a lot, but we do not go further south as we should because that is a continuation of culture and all those things. So I figured that would be the best time to deal with it is to do it now, right? Shout out to the fam that asked me the question. Um, Shout out to you. I really appreciate you asking me that question. And we're going to get into it. But the Shalluk Kingdom is still active. It is still a very active kingdom. There's a lot of kingdoms in Africa that are still around. The language is still intact. The culture is still intact. So the Shalluk Kingdom is no different. Okay, so the Shalluk Kingdom is along the banks of the White Nile. That is in the southern part of Sudan. But get this: the White Nile and the Blue Nile. The White Nile is going further south. Remember, the Nile River is over 4,000 miles long. Okay, and it goes from south to north, and you can fit the whole United States in that region and still have a couple thousand miles to go. So the White Nile it goes further south into Uganda, Kenya, where the mountains of the moon are. The Blue Nile, of course, splits off into Ethiopia. Okay, and they come together along in Khartoum. All right. So for centuries, the Shilluk people led their culture was led by the king the Re or Reth, the Re, and he maintained that cultural identity. There's a lot of kingdoms. There's a lot of empires throughout Africa that is very resolute about their process. They do not care uh, about Europe. They don't care about the West or anybody. They say, look, we're going to be who we are, and you guys got to be good. Got to be good with it. So this is one of them. They're in the southern part of Sudan. Shout out to the fam in Sudan. Shout out to them. So now the question is, where did they come from? Where did they come from? They trace their origins down to the 15th century, and they had been founded by a guy named NyKang, Nykang, Nykang. That's how you spell it. And he was seen as a legendary god king or some kind of divine influence, a divine individual. And as you know, in African culture and custom, most of the rulers and leaders were seen as appointed by God Himself or seen as a demigod or some kind of divine individual. So the Nile King was seen as a legendary individual. His descendants that ruled throughout this kingdom, throughout the centuries, were direct descendants of Nile King. And this kind of reminds me of the Kemetic culture where the four golden ages was established by various families. But get this, what I've learned is that the golden ages of Kemet, they may have had a dynasty, but it may not have been the same family members, but they had the same ideas. They had the same kind of foundational teachings. So When we hear golden age, when we hear dynasties, they may not be directly related, but their ideas are the same. But in this case, to my understanding, uh, they're descendants of NyKang, and so they're located in the South Sudan, and they're along the White Nile, and they are rich and full of traditions. They love music, dance, and just very typical of every all the African culture. Shout out to the fam that's out there. Let me know where you're from uh, in the chat. Shout out to the family of Brazil, uh, the UK, New York, California, Texas. Let me know where you're from in the chat. Tell me where you're from and what you're gonna do this summer. Forgot about that. So, so, but now they have a cultural structure, which is their identity, who they are, their music and oral tradition, right? But they also have a political culture, and politically they're not democratic in a sense. It's basically ran by the re or the king, and he is the spiritual and political leader of their group. Okay, and he embodies the Ubuntu, the unity of the Shilluk nation, and the kingdom is divided under various chiefdoms. Yes, they have the chiefdoms of governors and nobles of their various areas. Remember, we have to understand Southern Sudan is large, and so one king cannot really run it like that. And so we have to understand that they have to have leaders in various neighborhoods to keep things together. And then they come to the king and have those conversations, have those discussions. And so it was a hierarchical system. It works for them. It worked for a lot of kingdoms in Africa where they had the nobles, where they had governors or viziers or whatever. And by the time it went up to the top, that's where the king makes that final decision. And I think as leaders, we should be able to delegate. We should be able to share that information or allow other leaders to lead. What happens is we will appoint somebody as a leader, but then we want to lead low key. No, if you trust that person to lead an event or to lead a group of people, let them do it. If you were a leader yourself, you should have imparted some ideas, some characteristics, some foundational principles that all they have to do is carry that on and move it forward with their ideas. It's delegation. So they have a political structure. It's very hierarchical in the Shilluk kingdom, and the Re is RETH, that the king is the absolute leader. And so they're very resilient, just like I said before, just like many African nations, kingdoms in Africa. The Shilluk people are no different. Shout out to the people in Sudan and along the Bilal of Sudan, the Hausa family, the Bamoon, and many others. They said, look, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we always done it. Okay, they may have the internet, may not, but they want to keep their culture, and we should be all right with it. Um, so, like many groups, they face some issues. They face challenges where the West is encroaching their views on them, or they're basically suffocating their culture through development, through how do you say infrastructure, where they're building roads and things on their land where they used to hunt and do things, handle business. It's suffocating the culture. And so Shilluk people have demonstrated remarkable resilience by preserving their cultural heritage along the South Sudan. But now, the question came to me last week is because they heard the word NyKang and they asked me, is he the same as the biblical character of Cain in the Bible? Now, I am a history teacher. I don't, of course, by faith, I believe and I believe God and so on, and I read the Bible and things like that. But historically, let's find out. All right, because that's very important that we know All right, know history, and we need to know facts and information. Yeah. All right. Let me know where you're from. All right. All right. Now, so is NyKang Cain? But let's get to who this person is. This legendary individual. Okay, NyKang. He is the cornerstone of the Shilluk people. In the culture, NyKang is, of course, a semi-divine figure. Nobody knows where he came from. Nobody knows who he is. He just appeared. Now that's that gray area, right? We don't know who his father is. We don't know who his mother is. Okay, but we do know who Cain's mother and father is, right? Adam and Eve, right? So um, now, but who was he? He was revered, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. According to Shilluk tradition, he was born to a woman, okay, to a woman, and that woman, and get this, the woman was human, but the spiritual entity that he was born to was divine. Okay, now that's pretty interesting. Okay, and the divine, he was born with uh as a role of the divine leader. But get this, according to some traditions, NyKang had a twin brother named Duat. Now, when I hear the word Duat, I think of the Duat as far as in Kemet, as far as the land, the realm of the ancestors and stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting to hear. NyKang being born of this woman, divine and the divine father, and his twin brother Duat. Pretty interesting. So now we know he's a twin brother. What else? What else? What else? And so his journey began in northern Uganda. So we already know the Shilluk people, their origin, the stories of Nubia and Kemet, they said they came from the foothills of the mountains of the moon. That's where God happy dwells, and so on. And so that's Uganda. So according to their tradition, NyKang came from Uganda. Okay, and he led followers northward. The Nile River goes where? From south to north, right? So even their tradition is basically confirming the flow of the river and migration patterns. Okay, the Kemetic culture, the Kushite culture didn't come from the north. They didn't come from the Mediterranean on down. It came from Central Africa on up. Okay, if you disagree, let me know. But these are African people saying African things about their own, right? So, but the biblical Cain, he didn't go up the river like that. You see what I'm saying? So are they the same? Mm, right? Because we have to be careful with terminology and words. But I'll get into that in a second. But so he was a mediator between the living and the spiritual world, according to the tradition. He established the Salute Kingdom, unifying various tribes, solidifying the position as a spiritual and political leader. So he reminds me of a lot of kings during this age where they would unify a bunch of people, different tribes and groups, and become one nation. It's very similar to, shout out to Mr. Gales. We had a conversation about that, concerning the first pharaoh, okay, the Scorpion King, or Menes, where he came from the south and united all these different groups, and he then donned the title of the King of the North and South. Okay, so that title, that culture is still there, but NyKang, he united some people, and so what happened is he developed this legacy by establishing kingdoms, and he delved with, um, of course, just like many African stories, we have this individual where he's able to communicate between the physical realm and the spiritual realm. He was a go between. And so he had those divine powers, and he passed them on to his descendants, known as the Re, or Reth, those kings. And so in order for that person to be named king, he has to go through those rites of passage, though that process. You just couldn't just be named king. Here you are. You had to be confirmed king. You had to be affirmed as king. You had to go through that process. So the rare they perform those rituals and ceremonies to ensure prosperity and well-being of the people. See, the thing is, a person becoming king wasn't just for that person; it was for the people, according to African custom. So, yeah, we have a lot of people that don titles and positions, but most of the time it's just for them, and they forget the people. And so that's why we have those issues sometimes. That's the reason why we select people or elect people or appoint people, and things go awry because they weren't for the people. Okay, so so he established the re, and it wasn't just hereditary. Remember, I said earlier that most dynasties they may not necessarily be of the same family, but the same ideals. So we kind of have an understanding that the rare is they're not hereditary. Just because I am king doesn't necessarily make you king, son. You got to show and prove. Okay, and so they had to go through that process, the rites of passage, or whatever process. I don't know because I'm not there, right? But every culture in Africa, and even in the African diaspora, there is a rites of passage. There is a process that transitions somebody from womanhood, from being a girl to a woman, from a boy to a man. There is a process. There is, okay, and so the NyKang, each king had to go through their process. And that was one of the issues with a lot of later dynastic kings in Kemet and other places. They sat in the throne, but they were not seen as a king. Why? Because you didn't go through the process. Your name is not written. Why? Because you're not recognized. So so the question is, to answer the question, is NyKang the biblical Cain of the Bible? No, he is not. Okay. We as scholars and students of history and theology or anything, African literature, African American history, whatever, we got to be careful with semantics, with wordplay. We got to be careful. We have to do the research. We have to do the homework. If it's not there, it's not there. Okay. Um, what happens is we would we would hear a random term, right, that sounds like something else, and we would naturally assume it is what that is. For example, if somebody says this group is Hibaru, I made up the word Hibru or whatever, in the middle of Timbuktu somewhere, somebody will swear to God that they're the long lost tribe of the Hebrew people in the middle of Timbuktu, just because the words kind of rhyme. That we can't do that. We can't do that. We got to do the serious work. We got to seriously do the research. There are some scholars out there. I'm not saying that there isn't groups in Africa that can trace their lineage, but they have it written somewhere. It is documented somewhere. Okay, we just can't just because the word a random word rhyme, we just hop on it. It's not how it goes. We have to do the work. We have to go to school. We have to find out the primary sources, secondary sources, cross reference those things, then come out with something. Let's have a conversation about it. Okay? Don't just bend words to fit what you wanted to say. All right? But yeah, we're about to get into it. Shout out to the fam that asked me that question. If you guys have questions throughout the week, put in the comments below. Let me know, and we'll go from there. I know. Shout out to brother Will. He asked me a good question. recently. I'm still doing my homework on that. Shout out to him. Shout out to Mo. And let me see. Shout out to my cousin. Let me see. Brandon. He went to Kemet like a couple of weeks ago. He came back with some good stuff. Okay. Now, of course, these are wonderful gifts he gave me and Queen Cam. I'm very excited about that. This dude actually went to Egypt and he brought back some stuff. I'm just very happy about that. So I love it. Man, I'm very happy about that. One day I'm going to go and me and the Queen go on a road trip to Kemet. We're going to leave the kids here and go out there and hang out. I want to go and visit and have a conversation with the people that I've been reading about. You know, so it'll be cool. Matter of fact, let me know where is your dream vacation? If you had all the money, where would you go? Okay, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna go from the Nile River, the bottom of the Nile, all the way up. It's gonna take me about 6 months. Y'all tell me, let me know. Okay, shout out to the fam. Uh, but I really appreciate you guys. I don't want to hijack the time, but that was the question. Okay. And I hope you guys got something from it. But yeah, is NyKang the Cain of the Bible? According to this information, historical information, he's not. Biblical information, he's not. So, but it's a good conversation starter because the dude was a twin. Okay, but if that's all we have other than just his name and him being a twin, it ain't much, right? But shout out to much love to the fam in Sudan, in Congo, Ethiopia. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things happening. Prayers going up to them, and that's about it, y'all. You listen to King Cam and Ujumbe podcast. Ujumbe means message. The question is NyKang the Cain of the Bible? You know. So, but I will talk to you guys later. Oh, I forgot. Here, Big Brother Mo asked me about the book, Ancient Records of Egypt, Volume 1. Told you before, they found something about the pyramids. And according to this book, the book says what it is. Okay, check it out. I will put the description, put this in the description. And we will be on Kush this summer. Okay, this is the book we coming out of Wonderful Ethiopians of the Ancient Kushite Empire. Uh, I have journals for children and Jew babies message. So, but yeah, but I really appreciate you guys coming through, enjoying your Friday, enjoy your weekend. If you have any questions, let me know and talk to you later.